Wedding Day Exposés. They say your wedding day is the start of a new chapter, a clean slate written in white ink upon the heart. But for Elena, it was the final, jagged page of a long, beautiful lie that was finally catching fire. The air in the chapel was thick, suffocating and stagnant, smelling of heavy, wilting lilies and the sharp metallic tang of a betrayal so acidic it burned the back of her throat. Though the pews were full, only one person in the room held the match, and she was watching the flickering flame dance in Julian's deceptive eyes. Every hand-stitched floral on her lace gown, once a symbol of purity, now felt like a tightening noose, a silken cage she had built for herself and walked into willingly. The organ music didn't swell with celebration. It groaned like a funeral march for a woman who was slowly realizing that the man waiting at the altar was a stranger wearing a familiar, handsome face. She could feel the heavy, expectant heat of 200 guests pressing against her back. But all she felt was the cold, hollow weight of a secret that was clawing at her throat, desperate to scream into the silence. The priest spoke of holy matrimony, his voice a rhythmic drone, echoing with the fabricated weight of a sacred, unbreakable bond. A bond that Julian was currently defiling with every calculated breath he drew. But as Julian reached for Elena's hand, his clammy fingers trembling with the ghost of a guilt he thought he'd buried beneath layers of expensive lies, the heavy oak doors at the back didn't just open. They groaned. It was a violent, guttural protest against the farce of the ceremony, a sound that cut through the organ music like a scream. It wasn't a tardy guest or a stray gust of wind. It was the physical manifestation of Julian's double life, stepping out of the shadows of his midweek disappearances and into the unforgiving light of his greatest deception. Sarah stood there, a jagged silhouette of pure vengeance framed against the blinding, accusatory afternoon sun. She didn't scream. She didn't have to. The air itself seemed to vibrate with her presence. She was clutching a stack of printed photographs like a jagged, serrated weapon, each image a cold, glossy shard of the truth that was about to pierce the very heart of this manufactured union. The silence that followed was a suffocating vacuum, louder and more permanent than any wedding bell, as the crushing reality of his 2-year charade finally caught up to the man standing paralyzed at the altar. The ceremony had been a sudden, violent massacre of reputation. But the reception? That was the agonizing, slow-burn funeral of everything Elena had believed in. She didn't flee into the hollow safety of a waiting limo, nor did she collapse into the predictable fit of hysterics the gasping guests expected. Instead, she sat at the head table, draped in the white lace ruins of her dreams, watching with a terrifying, predator-like stillness as Julian struggled to weave a lie large enough to drape over the mountain of photographic evidence. He looked small beneath the weight of his own deceit, a man drowning in a room full of people who were only there to watch him sink. The grand ballroom was thick with a heavy, unnatural silence, and that felt like a physical weight. The vintage champagne was getting warm and flat in the crystal flutes, and the 5-tier cake stood in the corner like a staggering, sugary monument to a dead future. Every muffled whisper from the guests felt like a shovelful of dirt on a fresh, open grave. When Elena finally stood, her movements were precise, slow, and lethal. As her fingers closed around the silver microphone, The sudden feedback hummed through the speakers like a low-frequency warning of the storm to come. In that moment, she didn't look like a victim seeking the room's pity. She looked like a high court judge delivering a final, unappeasable sentence to a man who had already lost his soul. "A toast," she said, her voice cutting through the ballroom like a razor through silk. "To Julian, to the man who taught me that I do really means as long as I don't get caught. May your next life be as beautiful as the one you just burned to the ground." She didn't drink. She simply tilted her wrist, letting the dark wine pour out in a slow, steady stream, soaking the white lace of her own lap. It looked like a wound. She walked away without looking back, leaving the ring in the puddle of wine, the diamond reflecting a room full of people who finally saw the truth.